You know what they say, you just can't keep a good guy down. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thank you for tuning in for another episode at Figure Out Films. I'm your host, Chris, as always, and today I'm very excited for today's episode where we are going to rank the 7 films in the Chucky franchise. Now, I am excited, but I will let you know first off that I am not going to include the Child's Play remake. I feel like I need to rewatch that. I'm mostly going off the 7-film collection, also because it was in the Shout Factory, 4K collection that just recently came out, and then also because Arrow put out their own box set that was recently on sale during their Easter Carnage sale if you participated. And I just finished binging through the last parts of the franchise, and I just wanted to kind of give you all a perspective on this franchise because I know there's going to be another couple sales coming up this summer, maybe at the end of May. So, if you don't know what to think about these box sets or which 4Ks to get besides just the first one, hopefully this list can help you out. And as always, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We have a lot of fun here talking about movie figures, NECA, hot toys, and then also we talk about physical media collecting here as well. So please consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, for those returning, thanks again for the support. If you missed the last video where we did do an unboxing of the Bat and Sin hot toy of the Batman, it is here in the back on my display shelf. I did find a new one. Just put the lights up. It looks really cool as well. But yeah, when we talk about franchise, I know we do a lot of top 5s, we do some top 10s from time to time, but I really wanted to talk about ranking. I'm really interested since I'm going through these franchises more. I'm really enjoying movies as always, but when it comes to the Chucky franchise, I feel like even though the movies got announced by Scream Factory a year or so ago, and then Arrow put it out recently this year, it seems like people are like, I just need the first one, and I feel like that's a disservice, and I really wanted to make a video about it. I'm very passionate about this franchise. I think it's really fun. I think it doesn't get as much love as it should, and also because recently I just bought my own NECA good guy figure, and he comes in a little box here. Granted, he comes in a big box, so obviously, the urge to talk about this franchise was there. And also, I'm inspired by a lot of my my compatriots, like my fellow YouTubers who were talking about horror and just talking about movies in general. I'm talking like Daniel from the Cobwebs. I'm talking about Planet Cha with Christian there, my alter ego. And I wanted to talk about a franchise, that's not just Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, which I totally would. If you want me to do more franchise rankings and reviews, let me know down in the comments because I'd totally be down for that. I'm going to have the summer open. I'm going to be excited to be doing some deep dives there. Obviously, I do the Godzilla stuff as well. But I don't know. There's just something about Chucky, Nothing like some strangulation to keep the circulation, And I'm not talking about strangling something of your own, guys. I'm talking about this killer franchise. And, I talk about this Scream Factory. I talk about these Arrow releases on 4K, which I would love to do a 4K review. I actually watched the 7-film collection here. I got it as a gift. And if you're anything like me in terms of collecting, you don't have limited bottomless funds. You have to be careful. You have to decide what you're going to get and what versions, what editions, what label to get it from. I mean, Arrow just put out an entire box set. Scream Factory put them all out individually on 4K as well. So as collectors, we're kind of spoiled, but we do have to figure out which ones are worth getting instead of just getting all of them or just getting the one, because you might be missing out on some. And two, you might be, spending that money on a franchise or movies that you maybe didn't need to get, and you could have put it towards something else you liked. So hopefully this video will help you with that. Anyway, enough with the yap session. Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm going to rank these films from my least favorite to my most favorite. So we're gonna go 7 to 1, and honestly, again, this is subjective. I'm weird. I have weird taste. I'm subjective all the time with my reviews, and yeah, so don't roast me too much in the comments, all 20 of you that watch these videos. So let's go ahead and rank the Child's Play Chucky franchise.
Don't fuck with the Chuck.
Anyway, to start off, so I did watch these all on Blu-ray, so you can't say, Chris, why didn't you get the 4K reviews? Because And I'm going to have to put a 4K video out at some point to give my thoughts on 4K. But these movies were just fine, at least outside the first movie on Blu-ray to watch. But coming in at my last place for number 7, and I'm going to start off hot. It's going to be Bride of Chucky. The 4th movie in the franchise, the first to come out of the Child's Play trilogy, is going to be Bride of Chucky. When we talk about Bride, I think it's so iconic having Tiffany on there. It's such a badass, awesome opening. I think the guy who gets chained up and then gets killed when trying to sleep with Tiffany, he reminds me of, I think it's Bones or Skull. It's Bones from Monster House, the animated movie. I swear that's the same guy. I don't know why, it just gives me that same energy. But Bride of Chucky, I wanted to love it. I know it's iconic, and I still really like the movie. It's really fun. You get to see, Chucky in a different way besides those first three movies. Andy's not in this movie. It's really kind of like almost like a weird rom-com of sorts. There's a lot of jokes. The tone is very campy. The kills are still great. Honestly, they're super creative in this. And Tiffany, I think, elevates the movie, because if it wasn't for her and we just still had Chucky as the killer, it would be pretty boring. And honestly, I found myself more entertained whenever Tiffany was doing something. And it felt like, I don't know, it felt like a road movie. Like, obviously, they're trying to get from one point to the graveyard to get the bodies. And I don't know, just like the premise and the call to action there through the journey just didn't feel that interesting to me. And honestly, the human characters weren't that interesting as well. I know they're running away from their dad, who is a police officer, for the girl, and the boy just wants to marry her and run away because it's the early 2000s and you could drop out of high school and get a job and not be in a terrible economy where you can't afford a house in the city anymore with the girl you love. It's not like 2024 anymore. You can't really do that. The movie has a lot of love, a lot of blood, and a lot of guts, and the ending is honestly one of the best things about it. I think this movie has such chops to go ahead and go for that kind of ending where it's showing that the sequel will be coming out, which is Seed of Chucky. I totally applaud it. And I think this is just a Tiffany movie. I mean, it is Chucky for sure. I love how she calls him out that this is, not the 80s anymore. This is the 90s. It's nice and it's fresh in that way, but it's an airtight franchise, but I got to put something at 7. Going in next is The Cult of Chucky, the most recent release from the franchise. Well, before the Child's Play remake, but from this 7-film collection, because it's the last one, which is Cult of Chucky. And honestly, I'm a little let down by the ending. Speaking of the alternate from Bride of Chucky, I just think Cult of Chucky's ending is so cool. I wanted to see more with that, but we just get the remake instead, which is really unfortunate. So it's a little bit of a letdown there, but honestly, it's all about the ride. And this movie's ride is so fun. It's honestly kind of creepy in the beginning. It gives me Silent Night, Deadly Night 3 vibes, oddly enough, where it just kind of feels supernatural. It also kind of feels like Friday the 13th and New Blood in somewhere. Like that kind of like almost supernatural. It feels fake. Like, where's that iconic killer? It doesn't feel like he's going to pop up. Is it real or not? I can't describe it, but that's just kind of the feeling I got watching this. And the crazier and crazier the movie got, the more I was enjoying it. I love how it takes place in a psychiatric hospital. It takes place right after Curse of Chucky as well. I love the female lead, Nika. She's so awesome in this movie. I loved her in the previous movie as well, in Curse, and then here in Cult, just elevated even more. You also get Andy returning in this movie, which we haven't seen since the 3rd movie, which I really, really enjoyed seeing. I like seeing how his date started off terribly. He's kind of has like a right-wing energy to him, which is a little sad and scary. But then when he reveals that Chucky's head he keeps in his fucking house is so crazy, and it just set the tone for me. And honestly, I like it because Chucky, yeah, he's a villain, but isn't the psychiatrist the more big villain? Like, he seems like the big bad. Like, I get bad vibes from the guy. And rightfully so, and Chucky does as well. You also get the return of Tiffany in this, and it feels like almost like a good for her kind of revenge horror movie with Chucky and a bunch of other ones. I'm a little like with Don Mancini with his like take of like a cult of like supernatural elements to Chucky. I question it a little, but I'm not also questioning enough to care because it's still awesome and funny. I think this movie really balances the camp and the horror from the Child's Play and the Chucky movies combines in cult in a really, really great way. Next, coming in at number 5, it's the Seed of Chucky. When I talk about combining those two vibes from the Child's Play and the Chucky movies, Seed of Chucky is the sequel to Bride, which takes place, sometime after Bride of Chucky, where it shows that there was a spawn because, spoiler alert, Chucky and Tiffany do have sex on their honeymoon because they get married. And they get this baby, which honestly is ahead of its time when it talks about gender and sex and like, being able to decide what kind of person you are. And you get that with Seed of Chucky and their kid, deciding what kind of personality they have, what kind of who they identify as. I think that's a really cool element. I don't know if Don Mancini was honestly tackling that, but in watching it from a 2024 lens, it's pretty interesting and I really enjoy it. It gives kind of a nod to Psycho in some ways. And honestly, these movies all kind of take a nod of some kind to other works, which I think works for these movies and makes them so enjoyable. But with Seed of Chucky, it feels like a Psycho in a way, but more like Psycho 3 in some aspects too, which, I love Psycho 3. And you get more Tiffany, but it feels like it's in the realm of the scary movie trend of the time where you got like celebrities on there. There's a lot of feeling like breaking the fourth wall of some kind when watching these movies. I love how Tiffany, begs this question that, do they have to kill? Do they have to be maniacs? And Chucky's like, no, I love what I'm doing. Like strangling and stabbing is awesome. John Waters is in this and has an awesome death. This death scenes are very interesting and goofy, but also kind of gnarly and creative. I did watch the unrated version of this that was included, and I'm glad I did. I don't know, different gravy, man. It feels like a Scream 3. It feels kind of like a Psycho 3 mixed with a Psycho 1. It's got an interesting premise and take to it. It's one of the strangest, horror movies I've seen in, from like a franchise like this. And I do enjoy it. This does feel also like a Friday 5, which I do enjoy as well. So use that how I may. I think this movie, Seed of Chucky, would be worthy of an upgrade to 4K if you do enjoy it. Like if me were to get to upgrade this, I would, because honestly, the transfer on this Blu-ray wasn't that good. And I have a feeling it's because it was a sequel and I don't think it was very well received when it first came out. But my God, I think a 4K would look awesome on this. It's just really cool. And that's going to be for there. So moving on. So now after 5, we go to 4, and that's going to be The Curse of Chucky. Now this one feels like that. It came out in 2009, and it does feel like one of those like Mama. It feels like those almost like not like the A Haunting in Connecticut, like those late 2000s, early 2010s, like supernatural house haunted movies of some kind. Obviously this movie is like that, but it feels like that. Like the way it's shot, the way of the atmosphere of it, it feels like that. It feels like The Boy in the opening in some ways, that kind of energy, that kind of vibe, that creepiness. It feels like a Universal monster horror movie in some ways with the haunted house, and I do enjoy that vibe. I think it's so cool. You get Nika as well as an introduction, and man, she just takes it. Being this character in a wheelchair with an not as estranged, but like a difficult relationship mother, and then having to deal with her honestly terrible family. And Chucky, I feel like kind of helps her, gives her a new life, especially when you watch Cult of Chucky later on. I'm going to stand by. I think Nika's life was probably better because of Chucky than before. Although I do feel bad for the niece. Honestly, that's a crazy take. But the niece in this movie, she's so sweet and how she loves the Chucky doll. It gives me such a vibe of the first Child's Play movie. But you also get the adult aspect. I just really like Curse of Chucky, man. I mean, it'll probably be one of the more rewatchable background Chucky movies I put on in the future. Like, if I have friends coming over, if I'm doing stuff around the house, I'll probably have Curse of Chucky playing in the back. And I don't mean that as a bad thing. In my world, putting a movie out in the background is a movie that you like its energy, you like its vibe, the score is good. When you look at the screen, there's going to be something interesting that you like. That's what Curse of Chucky feels like to me. And yeah, I like this like almost serious attempt at Chucky because he's delivering himself to get revenge. Now, the backstory stuff is a little convoluted and a little, I don't know, but at the same time, I'm happy the attempt was made. And you get to see Brad Dourif in this as well. And I enjoy it so much. And I really think Curse of Chucky just etches out of the top 3, honestly. It was really close. Then coming in at number 3, and this is, I mean, like I said before, I love this franchise. It's a bulletproof franchise. It's certified gangbusters. This movie has motion. My God, I have the top 3 is also super airtight. And this is like a 4.5, 5-star movie for me as well. Child's Play 3. Now, I came late into the Chucky franchise. I saw Child's Play 3 at the Music Box at a 24-hour marathon. It was like 4 a.m. as well, or 6 a.m. I can't remember. But man, the premise of Andy going to a military school is so awesome. It's a perfect setting. I love Chucky's quotes throughout this movie. I love the teenage bullying as well. Man, this movie, Child's Play 3 is freaking awesome. I don't know why this movie got so much hate, or I guess it's disliked. But honestly, it could go toe-to-toe with the first 3 movies, in my opinion. Child's Play 3 is just so fun. Chucky trying to convince the kid that he should let him take his body, and he just wants a friend, is so scary and haunting and creepy, but also so deliciously evil for Chucky. And I love that. And Andy being able to find some happiness, kind of do an Edward Furlong impression in this from Terminator 2. I really enjoy that. Also, when you get to the circus, it goes a little off the rails, but it's such a cool callback to the second movie when it's over-the-top grand scale ending in climax. I'm down for it. Yeah, this movie's just so different from the franchise in terms of like setting. The location is so cool, and it's so like imprinted in my mind. When I think Child's Play 3, I think that military school, and I love that. I think it's so cool. So yeah, I got to give Child's Play 3 its flowers. It's awesome, and I think more people need to watch it and give it another chance. I really enjoy it. I feel like this, as I'm going through the franchise, trying to convince people that these movies are good, give them a chance. I'm going to go with number 2. I'm going to go with the first Child's Play from Tom Holland. No, not Spider-Man Tom Holland. I'm talking Fright Night director, Child's Play starring Chris Sarandon, Child's Play 1 from 1988. What can I say on Figure Out Films that's any different than what people can say about the first Child's Play, other than it's iconic, it's awesome, it's insanely crazy of an idea of a movie. I like how Chucky instantly becomes a horror icon in this movie, but honestly, he's not a Freddy, he's not a Jason or a Michael. He's kind of his own, but he mixes some of the greatest things about those slashers and infuses that all together. And Brad Dourif does an amazing job as the voice actor for Chucky. And, being able to voice him through these first 7 movies is a blessing, honestly. He's goated in my opinion. But just this first movie, man, is just so good. Like, it's such a comfort film. And, living in Chicago and being around the city and, like, this movie taking place in Chicago, I sometimes randomly drive and think, I wonder which apartment that was. Remember when they went to the south side to the abandoned Coke house and then blow it up? And I'm like, yeah, just another day in Chicago. But I love that first movie. And Chris Sarandon's so good in it as the FBI agent. And seeing young Andy breaks my heart for him. Just wanting to have a friend. And having a Good Guys doll in 1988 would have been the coolest thing ever, honestly. And I love the mom, like, just working hard to help her kid. It's so sweet and it's tender. It's kind of a sad movie in some aspects, and it's honestly really chilling when it's trying to reveal Chucky is the killer. I love that stuff. It's good. It's just great, right? This is why we love the genre. So I'm gonna give number 2 to the first Child's Play. Ultimately, at number 1, it's got to be Child's Play 2 for me. I remember watching it, and I did do an episode of Child's Play 2 on the almost forgotten podcast Inside the Sequel, which you can still listen to on Spotify and iTunes. I had director Mitch Oliver, who has a new movie on Tubi, which I highly recommend, Lowlifes, as well, plugging Tubi and my buddy Mitch. He went on, we talked about Child's Play 2. He convinced me to watch the second one because after the first one, I didn't know if I wanted to watch the franchise, so I did. And my God, I loved it. First time watch, I was like, wow, this is probably my favorite. And I think the first one is flawless. And Child's Play 2 is just as good. This is why I love sequels. This is why I love franchising. This is why I love Chucky as well. You go up banging out of the gate with an instant classic with Child's Play 1988. Then you come in with Child's Play 2. Andy's a little bit older. He's in a foster house. It's not going well for him. And Chucky is just so damn constant in this movie. The kills are so cool. When he has his hook for his hand, when he's in the toy shop, it's just so bonkers and over the top. It's just so amazing. I think the first 3 movies, what the best things about them are the set pieces and the locations. They're just so chef's kiss. It's so good. Also, they do not, for the sequel, they do not skip out on the practicals. It still looks awesome. They don't skip up on the kills. They only up the ante just a little bit, and I'm all here for it. Child's Play 2, it just back-to-back, great. And then I wanted to watch Child's Play 3, in a really cool setting. And I always wish that they would have done a better editions of 2 and 3 for the longest time, which I avoided buying them because I didn't like the standard Blu-ray releases. And I'm glad I did. Honestly, Child's Play 2, number 1. And honestly, if I were to get these as a 4K upgrade, I'd probably get the Arrow box set. It's a little pricey, I'm going to be honest. I'm not crazy about the cover art as much. And I wanted to see how the quality worked on these. And honestly, I'd be more than happy upgrading all of them to 4K. I think they would all look great. Maybe the last 2, I'd probably not feel the need to upgrade as much because they look great on Blu-ray. So maybe even the Scream Factories would be a great investment, honestly, there. But yeah, I would say it starts with the first 3 Child's Play movies. But honestly, the gap between them and the Chucky movies after, it's pretty small. It's not a large gap. The quality's still there. It's just different vibes, different tone, different inspiration. I highly recommend that if you are watching and you haven't seen any of the Child's Play movies, or if you only stopped at the first one, go and watch them. Go and stream them. Go do what you have to do to get you a good guy, and watch this movie. Watch these movies, this franchise. I think you'd really enjoy it. And there you have it. There's my ranking right there of the Child's Play franchise. What do you think down in the comments below? Did I really smash this? Is this a great list, or am I just really crazy? Let me just sound off on the comments below. What your ranking of the Child's Play franchise is. If you've watched them all, which one's your favorite? I'd love to know down below. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Give me that support. Don't forget to hit the subscribe on the channel, and look forward to another video here at Figure Out Films. Thank you all for watching. And remember, if you are not getting yourself a Good Guys doll, do you really care about cinema? Other than that, I'll see you next time.